The Kreg In-Line Clamp is very simple, but also very versatile for a wide variety of project tasks like gluing up solid wood boards, holding assemblies while you work, holding odd shapes, and a whole lot more. In this video, we'll show you a few great ways to put the in-line clamp to work. Kreg joinery is great for assembling narrow boards to create wide panels for tabletops and more, and the in-line clamp makes it a whole lot easier by helping you hold those boards tightly together as you work. All you have to do is drop a couple of bench dogs in, press your boards against them, and get them roughly lined up. Then you can apply just a little bit of pressure with the in-line clamp. Make sure everything's aligned, and crank it on down. Now the in-line clamp will hold those boards tightly together and maintain that pressure while you work. A great way to strengthen plywood shelves and create a nice finished look is to add solid wood edging. And the in-line clamp makes it really easy to hold everything in place while you're attaching the edging. Just rest the edging against a couple of bench dogs and set your shelf panel up against it. Now, tighten the in-line clamp. If you're edging a long shelf, it's a great place to use 2 clamps. That pressure will hold, and those pieces aren't going to move while you drive in the screws. You know, no matter how carefully you shop for your project materials, you're probably going to end up with some boards that just aren't flat. But with the in-line clamp, you may be able to salvage those pieces and save another trip to the home center. Use one in-line clamp to apply some pressure. Then, at the other end, crank down another in-line clamp, and it will press that piece straight while you drive in the screws. And with Kreg joinery, the screws will hold the piece in place. Sometimes when you're working on projects, you'll use pieces that are odd shaped, and pieces that aren't square can be tough to clamp. But the in-line clamp makes it easy to hold them. Just use a couple of stops or bench dogs and crank the in-line clamp against the piece, and it will hold that odd shape securely, whether it's round or whatever shape you have. Kreg joinery is a fast, strong, and simple way to assemble face frames. And when you're doing that, it's important to make sure that all the pieces are lined up at the joints. And the in-line clamp makes that easy. If you have a piece that's offset just a little bit, just bring the in-line clamp in place right at the joint line. And you can hold those pieces perfectly flush while you drive in the screws. When you're working on projects, there's a lot of times when you have a partially assembled piece that you need to do something else to, like add another part or maybe install hardware. And it's nice to hold that piece securely in place as you're doing it. But most types of clamps won't work with these larger assemblies because they can't reach over or inside to hold it in place. The in-line clamp, though, can hold these assembled pieces in place easily because the clamp applies pressure from the side. You can crank the clamp down, and it will hold that piece securely while you continue working. Many kinds of clamps get in the way while you're working, but not the in-line clamp. That's because it applies pressure from the sides instead of over the top. And the clamp shoe is only a ½ inch thick, so it stays below the surface of most materials. So when you're doing something like routing, it's nice because the base doesn't hit the clamp, and that means you don't have to constantly move the piece and reclamp it as you work. The in-line clamp's also great when you're sanding because you need to be able to sand right up to and over the edge. With the side pressure of the in-line clamp, it won't get in the way. Even when you're finishing, the in-line clamp is handy because you can hold the piece in place but still get to the entire surface. And with the Kreg In-Line Clamp, you can do all these things without the clamp getting in the way.